Alright guys, this is something that I really wanted to talk about as someone who plays not only FGO, but I've been known to play a little bit of Honkai Star Rail, although I'm a little bit behind on the story right now. It's a pretty fun game. I enjoy playing it, and I've seen this been going around, and I wanted to kind of look into it a little bit more before I jumped in and did a video. That way I'm a little bit more informed of what's going on. This does not seem like there's going to be some big collab event. Like, we're not going to see, oh, in gold, well, I mean, maybe, we could still get it. Let me never say never, but I'm not expecting that, say, for Golden Week or something, you're going to see a Star Rail event. Although, I think that would be really sick, because something that I know a lot of people have been looking forward to, or really wanting, is FGO to collaborate with something that's not themselves. Because, yeah, sure, we have, Arcoweed in FGO, and technically Fate and Tsukihime are quote-unquote different series, but they're under the same Type Moon branch. We've had the Karno Kyokai collaboration, which, again, different series under Type Moon, quote-unquote, but it's kind of still the same thing, It'd be like having, I don't know, like one Lucasfilms property collaborating with another one, although now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of another Lucasfilms property that's not Star Wars, but you get what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm saying, that we want to see something where they collaborate with another game, and I've always been someone that didn't believe that they would do that, because why would they need to, right? Would it be something that is, super profitable for FGO to do when they're already the number one, not only just gacha game on the planet, but they're like the number one, or like one of the top games on the planet. I still remember in like 2016 when FGO was beating out Fortnite with just the JP version of the game. I was like, oh, this game is insane. Like, this game is way more popular than I realized. So who knows, if we're actually going to get a collaboration event. But what this is that the two directors are going to be talking to each other, and I think this could be really good for us as FGO players, because Star Rail, as I would say, a more modern gacha mobile game, and I know we're talking about it in the span of, FGO came out 9 years ago, but these games develop and change so quickly over time. I mean, you look at something like Arknights and what it dropped with versus FGO, and like none of the slice of life, or not slice of life, but quality of life updates that we dropped with, it's a night and day. And I think that could be something that hopefully the Star Rail director over here may, talk with the FGO director and, I don't want to say give him some tips, but you'd be like, hey man, these are some of the things that our players really, really like. Maybe consider, adding those into the game, which I think is kind of viable, because Star Rail, when I first played it, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a more, I don't want to say like real-timey version of FGO, but, it's turn-based like FGO is, except they have the whole speed idea in there, right? Where your characters can go so fast and, kind of speed up their turn. You can even prevent your opponent from ever having a turn if you want to lock people down, or you use Seal and Branya and you just never let your opponent attack. You just turn them into paste or whatever. But I think that could be really good. I would really like to see some of those ideas come out there. Maybe even the ability to, challenge other boss fights. Because, Star Rail has that. You can challenge old boss fights and they drop materials and everything. And so maybe they'll incorporate something like that. Even if it's small, maybe you can fight Goatian. Okay, maybe this would be a little bit too crazy. I was going to say, well, maybe the Goatia thing, if you go and you fight it, it drops at least one of each materials that the individual demon pillars dropped. But I'm starting to remember that the demon pillars dropped like 30 materials, so that might be a little broken, but is it really all that broken? I mean, you have to go do like some 1 million HP fight, and I guess if you could farm it really easily, then, great for you, but for a newer player, it might be more of an investment, but hey, you're at least getting those guaranteed drops, and you're getting a lot of other materials at the same time, so something like that I think could be very cool. I just really hope he doesn't talk to them about the pity system, which I know technically is better in Star Rail, but I lose these 50-50s all the time, man. I lose these 50-50s left, right, and center. I just lost one on the Kafka banner, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose it on the Black Swan banner, but, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But then again, I guess having that 50-50 after, what, 10 pulls or something, I think it is, having a 50-50 for the rate up 5-star might be better than having to go 990-something Sank Quartz deep, which is like, what, like 30 multis or something ridiculous. It might be better pities. I mean, maybe he'll give him advice on that. And then if we do get a collaboration event, I kind of wanted to talk about this because, this is going to be something that everybody's wondering. And, I play the game, so I want to be a little bit realistic. If we're going to be getting any characters in FGO that we're going to be coming from Star Rail, I would assume it would come from one of the actual, Express members. Like, it's probably going to be some of these main guys over here. It's probably going to be the Trailblazer. It's probably maybe going to also be March, and then I'd assume Don Hung. They're kind of like the three mainish guys in the game. I suppose, yeah, here's a really good one. Like, it's probably going to be like these three, but definitely, let's be honest, we're probably getting a Stell, because, waifu Cell. And look, as much as, your boy plays as the male protagonist, right? Because I was like, I'm going to be a little bit different. Dude, I don't see any fan art for the male protagonist, dog. It is all Stell fan art, right? So I'm assuming that FGO, if they would do something like that, they're going to be, come on, let's be realistic. Free-to-play Stell, I think, would be super, super dope. Then, I don't know, you could do like a 5-star March, a 4-star Dan Heng, or either way around. Although I would assume for that, because Dan Heng just got his new form, for, I guess, just got, quote-unquote, his relative, but he got a new form. And so maybe they would want to wait for March to maybe have something for her story kind of continue, which leads into the last thing that I want to talk about, and that is the whole Nasu thing. Now, I was looking for the interview because I wanted to get this down pat, and if I do find it, I will go ahead and link it in the comments down below. But there's some misunderstandings on what Nasu was doing. One of the main writers for FGO, the guy that wrote Stay Night, the Altera route for Fate Extella, stuff along those lines. Like, he's written some pretty big stuff. Go figure. He's like the father of the Type Moon series. He is allegedly going to be writing something for Star Rail, which I was kind of thinking, oh, he would be perfect to write something for March because, it's Fate, it's depressing things, and March is like one of the happiest characters we have. She's just a bundle of joy. And so having Nasu on that, come on, that just feels too perfect. I don't want it to happen because I don't want anything bad to happen to March, believe me, but it just seems that they're having these talks about, oh, maybe Nasu will come write an event for Star Rail. And then, we just got the Dan Heng thing. I'm assuming we're probably going to get something for March, right? So yeah, I'm assuming they probably put him in charge of that. Some people are like, oh, no, he's not going to write anything for Star Rail. He's got to catch up on all the lore, bro. The lore, it's there, and sure, it's got some complexity to it, but let's not cap. What we have for FGO and the Natsu-verse, the Type Moon thing as a whole is just insane. I would say it's insanely more complex, especially because our main character over here, at least for the Star Rail portion, not for the Honkai, stuff as a whole, which does seem to reset itself, so you don't really have to worry about that too much, I would assume. The main character is such a goof nut, right? So if the main character can follow what's going on, or at least I think Stella's being able to follow what's going on. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but if they're able to follow, then I'm assuming Nas will be able to follow it as well. And there's also been some confusion for people saying that, oh, well, Nasu is, he's taking a break from FGO after part 2. Why would he be going to come write something for Star Rail? Well, just because he's going to be, leaving after part 2 is concluded, doesn't mean he can't just take a break right now to go, write for Star Rail. Because we have other writers in FGO. We have Higashide. We have Sakurai. There's the other guy that his name I'm blanking up. But Urabuchi writes some events. And then I know the guy that worked and trained under Urabuchi. I'm forgetting his name, but he wrote Lilim Harlot. We have a ton of writers working on this game. They even got the Prisma Ilia guy to come back and write his event. So he can definitely take a break, go, make whatever he wants for Star Rail, right? If they want to bring him in and then come back to finish part 2, which I've seen a little bit of confusion. People are like, well, part 2 is over, right? We finished all the Lost Belts. Technically, Ordeal Call is still wrapped into part 2. We're done with part 2 when we get to Antarctica, which I'll just leave it at that for people that want to get to the story at that point. But just know we're trying to get to the icy caps. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think this is very exciting. I'm really liking to see that these different mobile games are actually interacting with each other. I'm hoping I'll be able to find some kind of translation video, something along those lines, that goes over what these two talked about. I'm really looking forward to it. And then the Nasu thing, again, as someone who plays Star Rail, I couldn't be happier about the prospect of him writing an event. And then, again, as someone who really likes the Star Rail game, I'm also very excited about the idea of potentially even getting characters in FGO, although that is probably a next to 0% chance of happening. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and we'll be back to normal, good old FGO content in the next couple of days here whenever this actually goes up. But yeah, just wanted to talk about this. See ya.